News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live. Now then, Sri Lanka continues on its economic distressed path, which we are all aware of. It appears sometimes, frustratingly, that the whole purpose of the public protest, the peaceful public protests, sometimes called AAL, appears to have been for no purpose, or the purpose has been lost, or that's the way some people are talking about. It is apparently this peaceful protest a service to the nation, some would argue. The whole purpose seems to have been lost, and now there appears to be, again, some section of the public saying that there is a witch hunt, and we don't really know whether that is so or not, but we do have different opinions on this, and let's hear one possible explanation about all that from Mr. Harshana Nanayakkara, who is of course an attorney at law and no stranger to the program. Very good evening to you, Harshana Nanayakkara. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Now, what do you say to people who say that, you know, these people, especially the youth, who became very vocal? The dollar crisis ended up as an economic crisis, that ended up as a social crisis, and that ended up in a political crisis. People took to the streets, peaceful protesters, and they wanted change. They wanted to be able to insist that the rule of law was followed, and they wanted delivery, and they were unhappy for a variety of reasons: power cuts, no fuel. And I think the greatest insult was that after a hard day's work they got home only to find that there was 9-hour power cuts. And so the resultant distress is what saw the birth of these protests. Harshana Nanayakkara, why is it now that people are saying that there is a witch hunt going on?
Well, as you rightly pointed out, Faraz, people did not come onto the streets because they had nothing else to do at home. Struggle was there at different levels even before it came to the goal phase. Goal phase is where you can see even the Colombo middle classes joining in. The lengthy power cuts, lack of gas, lack of fuel. But the struggle was originating in the villages even before.
Absolutely. I was about to say the farmers were protesting much before this.
Much before, because they were saying we need fertilizer. We need fertilizer. And then the teachers were protesting because cost of living was spiraling up and none of the salaries were going up. So they protested. Remember, people were reasonable. When Gotabaya came into power, the first 1 year, people very quietly supported him, actively supported him, thinking that he would bring about the change. But nothing was happening. And then people very correctly insisted, give us the fertilizer, give us the milk powder, give us the gas. And he was not answering any of the calls. In the end, people said, Gotabaya, go home. So I would like to thank those golfers, Aragale, who did it, but that is not to take any credit away from other struggle fields, from the fisherman folk, the farmer. Everybody struggled. So it's the collective effort. No one single political party did it. People came together.
And in the meantime, we mustn't forget the people of the north and the former conflict areas who've been protesting for over 2,000 days for their rights.
Of course.
And so they're quite seasoned protesters in a way.
Yeah.
Under exceptional circumstances too.
People will always take to the streets when their rulers are not listening to them. Forget what the constitution says, forget what everybody else says. But the most important thing I want to draw the distinction is this: struggle was a peaceful struggle. But after Ranil coming into power, and especially after the 9th of May, I think that was the correct day where some people from the temple trees attacked the protesters of Golface, everything was extremely peaceful. Actually, we gave a lesson to the world. We chased away a ruler who had a 6.9 million mandate without a single bullet being fired. It's a peaceful protest.
Not even to forget the fact that they had a near two-thirds majority.
Near two-thirds majority and a very powerful 20th Amendment. Yeah. So this is the real democracy, where you are not turning violent, but telling the rulers enough is enough. So that was absolutely fine. But however, quite unfortunately, the witch hunt part comes in like this. within the Aragala itself, there were some criminal elements. We, as citizens, we always say, please punish those who did what is wrong. But right now, if you look at them, with the PTA being there, whom are they arresting? Whom are they arresting? They're arresting the guys who, I mean, I appeared for a couple of cases of these protesters. They have just walked into the president's house. Now, what is the offense in that? You can't say it's trespass because nobody stopped them. Right? Nobody.
In fact, the security there, in terms of the police and whoever else, security-wise,
they allowed them to go.
mainly stood by.
Yeah, and at the presidential palace, the forces left. And then the people they're arresting are the ones who ate the papaya from president's fridge, who sat on president's chair. Okay? And these are the people which are being hunted using the PTA, but they're not being detained yet. And the person who stole the president's flag, it's theft, true, I agree, I agree, right? We will not condone that. But they are using the PTA. Now look at the arrest of the Inter-University Federation, Inter-University, the Vasanta Mudalike. Now what did he do? He was having a protest march peacefully from Lipton Circus to the Fort railway station. He did not break a barrier. He did not break any curfew, right? He didn't do anything. But you saw the contingent of the police, they were chasing them and attacking them for what? What wrong did they do? What offense did they commit to be detained under the PTA, a draconian law, which many of them have promised to abolish?
But never done.
Never done.
Never got
Be
around
the
to
typical Sri Lankan politician. Never done. And remember, the biggest difficulty with the PTA is that when you're detained for 90 days, lawyers have very limited access, right?
Very limited or zero access?
Very zero in very different circumstances. You can get with the permission of the magistrate, but no access. In technical speaking, no access to
So you're on your own in those 90 days of incarceration?
Definitely. And then at the end of the night,
easy for the other side, the questioners, to kind of get answers they want, because the chap being held is a member of the public, and you know all he wants to do is get home.
and also look at the amount of mental depression that a person will go through to confess to things that they never did, right?
So obviously this is one of the principal reasons they want to change the PTA.
Not change, for us, abolish. That's what we should do.
Okay.
That's what the international community is saying. PTA, remember, you're detaining a person without a trial. You're detaining and taking the liberty of a person away without being convicted in a court of law. And this is not the international law that we have adhered to, or we are supposed to adhere to. That's why all these people, like the ambassador, Julie Chang, American ambassador, the UN Human Rights Agency, European Union, all these people are condemning Ranil Wickremesinghe for signing those detention orders. They have said not to do so because that's a violation of human rights. Now, if you recall, I mean, they said Ranil is a man who can get international cooperation. He gets recognized, he will collect the donations or whatever, the projects.
So where is it?
Not where is it, but instead of bringing anything, as you rightly said, I will answer that later, he's only bringing condemnation with his conduct. IMF staff level agreement has not even taken place, and I believe the IMF staff is here. You think it's going to go down very well, violating all these human rights of people using draconian laws? And what about the GSP Plus from the European Union? What's going to affect those?
But for somebody who knows all this, because he's waxed eloquent about it in the past, for somebody who's aware of all these ramifications, why does President Wickremesinghe go down this route where he knows? I mean, these people who would have otherwise supported him, these ambassadors, for example, that you were alluding to, they've most of them have expressed their displeasure and unhappiness at what's happening to the people of the country.
You see, Ranil Wickremesinghe is a hostage of the Pohottuwa party. It is 134 people of the Pohottuwa.
Are we just saying this, or is that the real thing?
I'm telling you that's a real thing. I'll explain to you why. I think you will agree with me, hopefully. The real reason is this. How did he become president? Not through a public election. Okay? It is the majority support of Pohottuwa and a few SJB fellows perhaps, but mainly Pohottuwa.
But the people's choice, nevertheless.
No, he was not people's choice.
Well, the Pohottuwa were elected. Parliament is representative of the people.
But this my argument is that the moment President resigned, that means the will of the people has changed, consent of the people has changed. When that consent changes for the Pohottuwa government too. That consent, not legally. Constitutionally, no. But morally, they were rejected too. So when he became the president of the Pohottu, the point I was trying to make, he has to please the Pohottu people. You saw Sanath Nishant said, we appointed the president, so he must do what we said. Now, who are the people most hurt by the Aragalaya? Are the Pohottu people. They lost government, their leader had to run away. Now, then who would want to hurt the Aragalaya people, the witch hunt, or going behind them? It will be the Pohottu people. Now, Ranil is doing what the Pohottu fellows wanted. Otherwise, what's the point? When he knows he's kicking to his own goal internationally by doing what he's doing with the PTA. But without pleasing the Pohottu people or the MPs, Ranil has no survival. So that is the reason why this witch hunt is continuing. I call it a witch hunt. Look, I'm never saying if they have done something wrong, criminal wrong, please arrest them and prosecute them. But right now I ask, where is the evidence?
How does the law differentiate between pinching the president's flag and subsequently using it as a bedsheet and nicking the presidential beer mug and eating his piece of papaya and so on? How does
and using the pool?
Yes, and having a dip in the pool and damaging it by using soap and then getting in it and all that business. You know, how do you differentiate that? Because those two are against the law, with burning of people's homes and damaging public property. How do you differentiate as from a point of view of the law?
Yes. Now, when the houses were attacked and burnt, right, that is against the law, that is criminality, and we will 100% support to arrest them and prosecute them. There's no two words about it, right? But when you are having a struggle of that nature, even stealing a flag technically is theft. But do you want to spend taxpayers' money for a flag? Is that the reason? A beer mug, he never stole it. He may have used to drink it, I don't know. Because the many people who are getting arrested are being arrested on the basis of photos, okay? On the basis of photos, they're standing near the president's house or inside the president's house. Now, standing at...
Or seated in the president's chair.
Right? They are getting arrested. But that is not an offense to sit on a president's chair. There's no offense.
But there is an offense when members of parliament inside the chamber damage the speaker's chair, took chairs out, smashed them up and used them as weapons against the government of the day or the others, you know, who were not their supporters. And to this day, we have not seen any legal action against those people.
Exactly.
Not even so much as a compensatory payment to Parliament to compensate for the damage they did. We the people, you the people are paying for that.
Exactly. Now to add another one. Now what happened to those fellows who attacked the Golf Fest protesters?
Absolutely. That's
What's happening with that the case?
That's another
Nothing
one.
is happening with that case. So the question whether it's a witch hunt, yes it is a witch hunt, and why are they doing it? I'll tell you another aspect to it. Why are they doing it? To make people fearful. Now the struggle, I mean, we as a political party, you know that I belong to a political party, we are not scared of this oppression. We are willing to face it. But they want to make people fearful and not to come out. Because in time to come, you know, IMF program and everything, you know, there are 40 SOEs that they are trying to privatize and fiscal reforms. Now we are also for fiscal reforms when we know what they are. So if you put enough oppression, people will not come on the street. Remember shock therapy. When people are shocked, dismayed, frustrated, you can get many unpopular things moving without them realizing much, without much resistance.
There are many questions. Thank you very much for sending them in at 0772 300 305 by WhatsApp or by SMS. But many people are saying about this, around the same thing. How can you say, Harshana Nanayakkara, that RW is a hostage of Pohottu? He is in fact one step below God. He can always say he will dissolve Parliament if he can't do what he has to do. Isn't that true though? He can, because he is now the president.
True in this way. Now, he cannot function without the support of the Pohotwa.
Yeah.
So he will do his level best to get all the support he can. Even right now, when he should be attending to the economy, he's running around, by next week you will see a massive government cabinet coming through. He's trying to establish his power by fishing for other people from SJB and Pohotwa, right? So while he is focusing on that, if he can't do what he wants, right, from what I hear from the grapevine that I hear, that a lot of Pohotwa MPs are asking for minister portfolios and he's not very happy about it. Those are from the grapevine, I do not know the truth of them. So if he can't get what he wants, then after February next year, he has the power to dissolve the parliament.
So that's when his frustration will come into play.
But having said that, now the 22nd Amendment, right, some of the Pohotwa MPs have petitioned now with the 22nd Amendment to bring back the clause where the president can't dissolve the parliament up to 4.5 years like it used to be. So for us, the country is anything but stable, right? We are like a ship in a storm heating all over the place, but many have not realized it.
And this ship doesn't have the satellite tracking service, does it? On that note, let's go for a quick break and have a peek at this evening's headline news. We'll be back with Harshana Nanayakkara, attorney at law, on the other side of the break.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
Will China ease its position on Sri Lanka's debt? And will the IMF provide relief? Aragale activist Senadi Guruge arrested. Venerable Kasapatero remanded. IUSF convener detained at temple following arrest, alleges lawyers.
නවගමු දේවාලය ඇතුලේ හෝ රඳවා තබා ගන්න යයි කියලා ඉවසද්දී ඉහලින් තාම කොහෙටද ගෙනියන්නේ කියලා උපදෙස් ලැබුන්නේ නැහැ කියලා තමයි රඳවා තබා ගන්නේ.
Import restrictions relaxed. Concerns mount over a fuel shortage.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation this evening with Harshana Nanayakkara, attorney at law. Mr. Nanayakkara, many people are concerned about...
Faraz, I'm sorry, I heard that you're not going to be in the chair for a couple of days from
yes, I'm going to take 2 days medical leave. A little procedure. On
I hope nothing serious.
No. Just to look in the eye so I can see better. I can see through all these things better then.
Good luck with that.
Right. Now then, people are complaining and there is international condemnation about the use of this PTA. It is almost like before he became the president, Mahinda Rajapaksa was the champion of human rights. He went to Geneva and so on. He made firm friends with the Palestinian, the people of Palestine, and so on. He was, I think, instrumental in setting up the Palestinian Sri Lankan Friendship Society and so on. He was a champion of human rights. All this went out of the window, most of it, when he became the president. It's the same here. We have this person who knows all about how GSP gets affected and all this business, and how very sacrosanct it is, human rights and equity and so on, to the Western world. And here they are, the IMF, in this country, and what do you see? Departures from all these things. The rest of the world have dumped their equivalent to the PTA and put something in to deal with terrorism and so on. What's going on? Doesn't anyone care anymore?
It's more than caring. You see, inside the government, it's a massive contradiction, right? Because the parliament does no longer represent the will of the people. It's the exact opposite, right? People want this parliament dissolved, and they are calling for a fresh mandate so they can appoint whomever they like. Remember, this country will not go an inch forward. Laws, gazettes and constitution alone, a government cannot be run. You need the consent of the people. The people must actively get involved and support a government to come out of this mess. That will only happen when there's a fresh parliament. Now, Ranil, what is he doing? He's basically running a temporary run. Took it from Mahinda and is doing a temporary drive at the moment. And his main target is not to be answerable to the people, because people never voted for him. Remember, he was rejected. He only got 30,000 votes. He was rejected from being even an MP. But he has to serve the Rajapaksas. He has to protect the Pohottuas. Otherwise, his survival as a president is non-existent. So now he has to make a choice. Right? But knowing him, he will not let this go till Aragale 2.0 comes in with another massive protest on the roads. Now remember, the electricity bill went up by 75%. People have not felt the pinch yet because the bill is yet to come.
What about the kerosene? They're feeling the pinch all right there.
The kerosene, I mean, look at it, Faraz. I mean, when you increase kerosene prices about 250 rupees, how are the fishermen going to go? Now, even right now, Trishaw guys are only getting 5 litres. That means they can only run one day. They can earn and live only one day with their families. Farmers are having problem because the QR code, when you say fuel for us, for you and I, we think of, oh, I can't go to this party or that party. But farmers need for their machinery to harvest. Right? I mean, you think they are getting the QR code?
Yes, I saw that yesterday. Somebody is complaining that 12 litres isn't enough.
Obviously,
because
for a farmer, because now with the prices, let's assume there's full. Look at the prices. With the prices, I was telling that one of the paddy farmers were telling me, to harvest one acre of paddy, he needs about 25,000 rupees of petrol. 25,000 rupees worth of fuel, whatever diesel that he uses. And the fishermen are saying, at these prices, don't be surprised if a kilo of fish goes at 4,000. Now, people, how are they going to eat? Where's the basic food security, and what is the government doing? Shouldn't they be attending to these things without running behind the guy who had a bath, swim in the president's pool? Ranil, I think, has gone mad. Your 134 answer is quite apt. 134
is the number of the bus service that serves a place called Angoda, which of course most people know that the National Mental Health Hospital is located there. That's all 134 means. But it's all, well, unfortunately, 134 is a number elected by the number elected.
The ones who voted for Ranil as president is 134.
Yeah.
And
but what you say that, I know you say it in tongue in cheek, you don't really mean it in that strictest sense.
No, not at all, not at all.
No, but isn't it frustrating for the people? The fact is, I keep going on about this. 62% of the people, the working population of our country, are daily waged. If those took guys can't go out and earn their money, well, how do their families survive?
This is why they will come onto the street. Those who are relaxing, thinking the struggle is over, it's far from over. It's a little like the tsunami. The first wave goes back, but the second wave is going to be pretty destructive. Remember, Faraz, a loaf of bread is 200 bucks. Can of tin fish is 900 rupees.
Yes.
Right? I mean, forget the gas, forget the oil. Doesn't these children go to school? Won't they get sick and there's no medicine? I saw Dr. Harit Adoge was saying that they are even asking for gauze and cotton, things like that, even from help from foreigners, I mean our expats. So bottom line is, this is going to explode.
Yeah.
This will explode. People will take it onto the street. What I am requesting this silly government is, there's going to be a change.
Yeah.
Nobody can stop it, but let it happen democratically. When you use oppression, when you use pressure, when they explode, they're messy, and none of us want that. What we want is a smooth democratic transition, not a violent overthrow of governments. But if people are hungry, now if my child is crying at home because I haven't been able to give food, saying, Papa, where's the food? I'm going to come onto the street. I'm not going to go home till I find the food, because I'd rather get shot and be dead than having to go back and look at my child, a hungry child.
Somebody sent us a message pointing out that in the United Arab Emirates, in Dubai, they encourage private enterprise like nothing else.
Yeah.
And you can register a company from start to finish, including all your licenses to trade and bank accounts and so on, for something like $4,570. In Sri Lanka, we're so sort of steeped in red tape. when and how is this government going to focus on the need to bring dollars? And to do that, you can't print dollars. You need to get the tourists back in. The infrastructure is already just waiting to be used. And we need to export.
Absolutely spot on. Firstly, we have to encourage private enterprise. There's no two words about it. But the economic targets must be set by the government. We should allow the private sector to achieve those economic targets. Economy must be managed. What we are experiencing, there's a $8 billion trade deficit negative. That is because of 4 years of lack of producing anything locally. Whatever you are wearing, your glasses, the medicine you buy, even the simple hair cream are not manufactured here. All right. So you and I are earning in rupees, but our spending is in dollars. All these things cost us foreign currency. So I'm not saying we can produce everything we want in one country, but whatever we can produce, we must start producing. It is actually the second phase.
So we must stop all this infighting and all this business and get to grips with and encourage our economic indicators.
Those who are supporting Ranil might not want to accept what I'm saying or believe what I'm saying, but soon they will know what I was saying is true. They don't give a, they don't care how the country goes. It's a power struggle there. Look here, if a man is worried about the economy, Ranil was brought in to fix the economy, right? Nothing else. Not to go behind protesters, no. That is not the reason. He's not doing it. He can't do it because everybody tried to portray him as an amazing man with international connections. I ask you, how many, he has been in this prime minister post and everything for 5 times. What investments has he brought? He has been in the parliament of 45 years. Either as a minister or an MP or opposition leader or the prime minister. So what is he going to do that he could not do for 45 years? Look here, the system needs to be changed.
But his peers chose him.
Yeah. See, those days, constitution is a constitutional mockery. It's a constitutional mockery. Remember, constitution alone is not enough for a country to survive. People must give a consent. This is the civilized world. But Ranil knows, the entire parliament knows, they will never enter the parliament again. People won't vote for them. For Ranil this time also they did not vote.
There's a viewer who sent a message just now who says put all 134 on the 134 and send them to the right place.
There's more than that to be said, I guess.
Oh, it's reckon.
Yeah. It's like all this criticism from the public. Why is it coming? Because they are not accepting the moral validity. There's no moral legitimacy for this government.
There is a
constitutional validity. Yes, true. Constitutionally valid, but there's no moral validity. Now remember, for people to invest here, for people to send money from overseas, and that's the first thing so we have to do. Expats must send money. But will they send money when they know a government is corrupt and wasting money? They are spending over some serious amount of money as compensation to fix the houses of those MPs that were burnt. We'll say fair enough. But what about all those people who died of gas explosions? What about all those people who died in queues? No compensation for them. But they are serving themselves. Now, recently...
So that smacks of iniquity.
Yeah, and people are not going to help such a government.
We have to finish because thank you very much for your wonderful messages addressed to me as well. Thank you. I won't be here for a couple of days, but I will rejoin you on Monday, hopefully. But Harshana Nanayakkara, thank you very much for being on News.
Thank you for having me, and good luck with your surgical procedure.
Thank you.
All right.
And that's the way it was on Newsline Live. It's not all doom and gloom. Sri Lanka is, after all, one resilient place, and we, the people, know that. And Sri Lanka, its people, we are absolutely amazing. You know that, I know that, Harshana knows that, and the control room knows that, and everybody else in this building knows that, as well as everyone else too. Take care, have a wonderful evening ahead of you, and as always, God bless you all.